Are you planning on racing IRONMAN Jacksonville in its inaugural race this year in Jacksonville, Florida? Well, this is a great video for you to watch because myself and a very experienced coach and excellent athlete are going to do a preview of the course, talk through what we know so far, and give you kind of hints and tips about how we think about what the things you'll need to look out for on the day. So who are we? My name is Stephen Moody, or Coach Steve. I am an Ironman U certified coach, more recently a YouTuber who specializes in 70.3s and Ironman races. And I do lots of these race previews by utilizing my fantastic network of really kind of cool, knowledgeable coaches. And one of the great friends of the channel is Coach Wendy Mader, who is an I'm in awe of because she's a super person, super coach, but also she's also won Kona, so she knows what she's talking about. So, Wendy, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into the course.
All right, Steve, thanks for having me back on the pod or on podcast YouTube channel. So, my name is Wendy. I have not missed a triathlon in 33 years, so I'm on a streak. I happened to win the Ironman World Championship Female Amateur Division in 2008, which is where you see that picture. I've done 10 Ironmans in Kona, 21 total, and I was a swimmer through college, turned triathlete, and now I focus primarily on ultra running, 50Ks up to 50 milers. I've done a 100-mile event. I don't know if I'll ever do another one, but I'm definitely not going to stop multi-sport. I'll always check one off a year, but while I focus on trail running right now, and I've been coaching for over 25 years.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. And so let's dive into the course. As I said, everyone's quite excited about this. There was a bit of cloud over the North American Ironman landscape when they announced the end of Ironman Arizona. But again, focusing on the new and shiny things are coming down. We've got Ironman Jacksonville that is coming up, and let's hop into the swim course. So, Wendy, what are we? So, point to point, which brings in itself logistical kind of issues, etc. But what do you think about the course? What's your gut feel on this course, and what have you learned about it so far?
I mean, what Ironman's been doing over the last few years is introducing new 70.3 and 140.6 courses that have downstream swims. And this is a downstream swim, which means you're going to have a tail current. So your swim time is going to be faster than another Ironman that you've done in the past. And so there is talk about the water quality. Ironman's not going to do a race if the water quality is poor. It's against USA Triathlon sanctioning. So they're not going to, there's probably going to be a darker course because it's in a river and the sighting is going to be less than other maybe river swims that you've done or ocean swims that you've done, but it's going to be safe. And so the fact that it's downstream, you're going to be in and out in less time than you would in another Ironman.
Yeah, absolutely. The talk of it is going to be the water quality is going to be brackish as well. As I said, it's not going to be a pristinely typical river swim where where the water quality is beautiful. But as you said, it'll be a quick enough swim, so you'll be in and out. Um, it will again just a couple of things to note as well from my point of view. It's your start point is going to be different to your end point, so there will be a little bit of logistics to getting to the start here. Transition is confirmed on the website as it's a single transition, so it's not split. Your T1 and T2 is going to be the same place. That's going to be here. That will make things a little bit easier. And we suspect it will be a wetsuit swim. What's your take on that, Wendy, for the Florida attempt?
It's going to be in the 90s. The air temperature is in the 90s. The race is early that it might be wetsuit legal. Again, they haven't had it yet. So due to the high heat of the air temperature, I think it's going to be a warmer swim and people should be prepared for a non-wetsuit swim as well as a wetsuit swim. Like any race this day and age. I mean, there's races that have always been wetsuit swims, but the last few years with climate change, they've been warmer and atypical warm that they're not wetsuit. Like this past weekend, Ironman Arizona, it was 68 to 70 degrees. And normally in Ironman Arizona, it's 60 to 62 degrees. So still a wetsuit swim, just atypically warm for that time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. And even as I said, when I did Ironman Texas, ended up being a non-wetsuit swim, and that was in April, so around roughly then the same sort of time frame. So I know different parts of the States, which is very large. But again, yes, 100% to be confirmed. And we don't have any kind of historical data to, so it's a good call to be prepared for a wetsuit swim versus non-wetsuit swim. Bring your wetsuit. Okay, doke. In terms of the actual swim entrance, it will be very much will be a rolling swim start, or a seated swim start, as is the case with all Ironman and 70.3 races in North America. And this is how it works. This is where you have your you will turn up on the race morning, and there will be different corrals or pens with big numbers that say under 60 minutes, 60 to 70 minutes, etc., 70 to 80 minutes, etc. And you seed yourself in the swim, which you will to according to your expected swim time. And then what this allows Ironman to do, it allows them to release the faster swimmers, like Wendy, the fish in the world. I'm not a fish. I'll be way behind Wendy in this pecking order. And they allow the faster swimmers to go first, and they allow a nice controlled entrance into the water. And as you can see from this picture, this is how they do it. You have kind of three, four, or five lanes where they have the very nice volunteers waiting. Do say thank you to the volunteers. They've given up their day for you. And every kind of 5 to 7 seconds, there will be an audible beep from this machine here. And then you'll go over the timing mat and enter here. Do seed yourself correctly. Do not make the mistake that even if you think you're going to be a little bit close to swim cutoff, which should be 2 hours and 20 minutes, that you're going to get an advantage by putting yourself further up the pen. That won't happen. All that will happen there is you get swam over by the stronger swimmers who know you shouldn't be there, and it means you don't get to draft, which you're allowed to in the swim by sitting on someone's hip or on their feet and actually letting them break the water. Anything you want to add on how you would place yourself in a corral for this race, considering it's a downstream swim, Wendy?
Even though it is a downstream swim, and every downstream swim, the current is going to vary. So like Augusta 70.3 is known for a strong downstream swim, as well as Chattanooga Ironman. Chattanooga Ironman has a little bit more downflow, pushing you to the finish line. I would still line yourself up at a time that is your typical time without being downstream. Because again, this race hasn't occurred yet. So there's no data out there to say how much flow is going to be pushing you to the finish line. So just be honest with what you typically would do, or what, if it's your first Ironman, what you think you're going to do, and just line up behind there. Because again, your start time starts when you enter the water. It doesn't start when the first person enters the water. So you have 2 hours and 20 minutes from the time you start, not from the time the race starts.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, just assume whatever was it 2 minutes per 100 is, and you will have done your long swim set. You would have done your hopefully a little bit of open water swimming to practice for this, because it's quite a different feel to swimming in a wetsuit than it is in a pool. And then you sort of should know, why swim 2 minutes per 100. What does that equate to covering the 3.8 was it kilometers? Okay. Anything else on the swim course do we think that would be useful for the nervous newbies?
No, I mean, I think just paying attention to the race announcements, checking in on the website to see if they have any information about the flow of the water. One little just thing that I like to tell people is, if you are a weaker swimmer, get stronger, start now. Like, work on your swim technique so you are more comfortable and more confidence in the water, and just don't rely on the stream of the water to ensure that you're going to finish under the cutoff. Just work on your swim and get stronger and get more efficient. Work with a local coach. It goes a long way to feeling more confident as you start an Ironman.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a question I see on the forums all the time. I lurk on the Facebook forums a lot because I like to share my race reviews. But a lot of it, how do I get faster as a swimmer? Poolside feedback and sort of joining a master swim club, having some one-to-one lessons from a swim coach is the best way at the start of your swimming journey to get some of the core technique down, your body position, your breathing, etc. And if you've got time to get ready for Jacksonville at this point, invest the time early, and then, as I said, work on that, and then it will make a much easier start to your day. Brilliant. Okie doke. All
Right.
right.
And for those who don't have access to local, I do free swim analysis. So just shoot me a message and I'll shoot you an email about how to or how to record and send me a video for a free analysis. That will go a long way than trying to figure it out on your own and trying to watch random videos on YouTube. If you don't know what you need to work on, watching random videos on YouTube aren't necessarily going to help you.
I didn't know you did free. I'm sending you a swim analysis.
I do.
No, I'm sending, I'm going to take it. This is a brilliant offer because Wendy is an absolute stellar swimmer. If I have lots of envy about different people in the world. I have envy of Wendy's swimming ability and her coaching ability. So this is a brilliant opportunity. I will have her contact details at the end of the video and also in the comments below. That is a brilliant offer, especially if you're nervous. It's your first Ironman, it's your first triathlon. Please don't let it be your first triathlon. I prefer when people do build up to these. But if it is a nervous to swim, that's a fantastic offer. Brilliant. I'm taking that up. It might come as Stefan Monday, but it doesn't matter. And it might come from an email address that looks a little bit different to what we normally correspond, and it may look like me, but it's help me. Okay, cool. All right. We will move on. As I said, the again, and as Wendy correctly pointed out, do keep checking. This video is meant to supplement your information on Ironman Jacksonville because we're still waiting for a lot of information to be confirmed. So do check their website. Do make sure you check with the athlete guide and attend to directly briefing. But at the moment, base assumption it'll be 2 hours 20 minutes for the swim. I've rarely seen that different in any Ironman race. So that's a strong assumption there. Okay, doke. All right. We will talk a little bit about transition now. The transition area is to be confirmed, but it will be a single transition, as in you will when you do your T1, as in swim to bike, and your T2, your bike to run, they will be the same, at same location. This will be using what Ironman describe as a clean transition, as in all the North American races do, where they use a bag system. When you check in, you will get a blue bag and a red bag and your special needs bags as well. But in terms of the transition flow, the key thing you need to know is the blue bag is your swim to bike bag. You will put all the things in that blue bag that you need to take and put on to get ready for the bike. Your helmet, your bike shoes, your sunglasses, whatever is in there. And as you go through that, you will also put in your wetsuit as you're taking it off from the swim. We'll talk a little bit about the red bag, which is when we're going from our bike to run. But in terms of getting someone ready for their first Ironman transition one, where they transition from the swim to the bike, Wendy, what's your key advice?
Know your ins and outs. So, when you're setting up in the morning, the day before, you're going to check your bike in and check all your bags in, but you will have access to your bike if you need to in the morning. And I'm sure that's where the bus is going to pick everyone up to bring them to the swim. Just know the exit, know the jog, the run that may be a distance to get your bike. Your bike, depending on when you're going to exit the water, you're going to see your bike with 2,000 other bikes, but when you exit the water, it may look a little different because a lot of the bikes may be gone. And again, you may check your bike in early and not see many bikes. And then the next day there's 2,000 bikes and you don't know where yours is. So just make sure you know your ins and outs and have your bag prepared with everything you need to ride your bike.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, yeah, so you will be checking in your bike the day before, and you set up the bag. So that's a perfect time, as Wendy was pointing out, that you can actually just walk the transition where you go from this is where we'll exit the water. This is where my bike is racked, and your bike will be you'll have a racking number, so therefore you'll know exactly where your bike is going to be found when you come out of the water, and also where you have to replace it when you come back in after finishing the bike before you start the run, and know the flows. Where is the bike out, and where's the mount line, as in where you need to get across the bike entirely across the way before you can get on the bike. And by the way, don't touch your bike until you put your helmet on, or else you get a penalty. And then also walk it back, and we'll talk about T2 in a little bit about where you will be coming back into when we have to dismount your bike. And also with the bags as well. We hopefully it makes sense now. But if there's not, we'll have a little handy video where it goes through how the transitions bag system works, and also how to pack them, what you should put in and what you can't put in, or what you have to put in and what you may not. Okay. All that video is there in the information in the little video in the comments below. Any other top transition tips before we head on?
I think again, know your ins and outs is
Absolutely.
really the most important thing when you're transitioning from swim to bike or bike to run or run to or finish line.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And remember as well, transition one will be slower than your transition two. We'll talk about that as well. Take your time in transition one because you have to get your wetsuit off. There may or may not be wetsuit peelers or strippers, as we call them. Oh, I don't peelers to be confirmed. Um, as I said, but make sure you're better off taking a few minutes in transition, making sure you have your helmet on, you're set, you've got your nutrition set up, etc. Then running out, saving yourself a minute, and leaving a bottle behind. Transition one, smooth and controlled. And as Wendy said, you'll know your ins and outs because you've checked that beforehand. Okay, we will move on. And
Well, one little quick comment, especially if it's someone's first one, you will be able to do a full change in the changing tent. So if you're questioning what to wear in the swim or what to wear under your wetsuit, you will be able to do a complete change if you need to before you get on your bike.
yes, absolutely, really a valuable point. Um, and yeah, and again, that comes down to comfort as well. Some of the people who are kind of looking for Kona slots and etc. will be kind of wanting to get in and out and save themselves minutes. If it's your first time, you want to get to the start line, to the finish line, work it out. You can use the full change. Okay, doke. All right. So, quick one. Hope you're enjoying. Was it Wendy's great tips? And if you do, please give her a thumbs up. As I said, wonderful coach, wonderful lady. And by the way, if you are looking for a great coach for Jacksonville, you would do a lot worse than to reach out to her. I'll give the contact details below and just check out if she has freed any free slots to pick up you for Jacksonville or even your any B races or 70.3s you're planning in advance. That is Wendy's Instagram account. She's way cooler than me in terms of on the gram. She's got some really cool content up there. Do follow her. And again, I'll give her the contact details at the end if you'd like to reach out to her. And as I said, brilliantly knowledgeable lady, brilliantly approachable, and a brilliant coach as well. So if you're curious, definitely hit her up. Okay, doke. We will get on to the bike course. Now, Wendy, what do we think about the bike? Two loops in Jacksonville, Florida. What do we expect that the
Two flat loops. Elevation gain for 112 miles is only around 800 feet of gain, which is like nothing. There's some little bumps in the road that might be good to stand and stretch your legs out, but for the most part, it's very flat. And so, and your training rides as you're getting ready, like maybe starting 12 weeks out would be your Ironman specific training build. Go on flat terrain and stay aero. So you're used to staying in your aero bars for that length of time. I think again, for any headwind, you're going to get a tailwind on this type of course, and being around water usually adds to some wind in certain directions. So don't be afraid to train in the wind, especially in the springtime. It tends to be more windier at events than in the summer or fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does look a very simple course in terms of there's not an awful lot of turning points. It is two laps, but like there's a kind of sharp enough turn there. We've got this turn when we have this dog leg. Otherwise, it looks flat. Was it very untechnical in terms of which would lend itself to spending a lot of time in the aero bars. And as you said, just being very used to actually keeping a good smooth cadence and actually training. I would actually not expecting to have too much break in that cadence. So making sure that you're very used to being able to spin the legs for whatever cadence you want and whatever high enough gear that your legs won't get too tired. Um, in terms of the road surface in Florida, I know we've talked about Florida and Haynes and all the rest, and Ironman Florida. What would your expectations be of this sort of road
My
surface?
expectations is smooth road surface. I have friends who live in the area, and I haven't asked them specifically, but based on I know the terrain that I've seen them train on, it looks pretty smooth. Um, anything can happen, but I would expect reasonable road conditions. I would also expect it's not closed to traffic.
Mm,
I did see a video of the course, and there is a nice bike lane. So that means there's a lot of space. There's going to be plenty of space to ride. And then I've also seen part of the course without a bike lane that could be, one lane going one way, another lane going the other way. I don't think they're going to close that section of the course to cars. So again, to be determined, it's not quite spoken of if it's going to be closed to cars, but like Ironman Florida is open to traffic.
Yeah.
There's
And
other races depending on the countryside or the terrain that could be open to traffic.
yeah. And before anyone would get nervous about that, is that I've raced Ironman Florida, and yes, there are certain sections of the road where there's traffic, but they cordon off a good proportion of the road and they keep you safe on that. And there's lots of
Yeah.
um police there that man those areas and also the junctions, etc. So whilst I don't think there's too many North American courses that are completely closed, and they are well marshaled and they're safe and all the rest. So don't panic about
Yeah,
that.
and they're not there's not a lot of traffic. It's, you may have a car go by every, 20 miles or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, it will be early on a Sunday as well. Um, and in terms of we're talking about it's flat potential, was it for the majority of it? As I said, there's not an awful lot of big hills that you would be getting out of the saddle on. Presumably, we're thinking TT bike here. That's what I'm
Oh,
thinking.
TT bike, absolutely, without a doubt.
Absolutely cool. And it will be hot. It will be warm enough, though. Again, the expectation it will be warm and humid. So I think as well, another thing to take in account will be keeping on top of your hydration and keeping in the heat management. What tips do you have for athletes in that regard? Or
Every aid station, grab water and throw it over your head or your face or over your body, like down your tri suit or whatever you're wearing over your head on both the bike and the run, because the wind is gonna, with the wetness of your body, the wind's gonna keep you cooler with that moisture on your body.
yeah, absolutely. And that when it's on there and that was it's drying off, it kind of helps because it keep the body keep the core temperature down. And in terms of aid stations, again, it's not confirmed on any of the maps, but typically what Ironman work off is typically every 15 miles there's an aid station. So that's what that will be one of the next maps they'll put up when they actually confirm exactly where those aid stations are. Anything else on the bike course we think, Wendy, from looking at it?
No, because I think we'll talk about aid stations in the next slide.
Yep, absolutely. And also just in terms of our cutoff times, again to be confirmed, but we're basing it off kind of just standard type of course like Ironman Florida, etc. You've got between your swim, your T1, your bike, you've got 10.5 hours to get done. To be confirmed. That's our working assumption. And just on that as well, I'm going to put a link into the comments below of the bike course recon done by the endurance guy. He's a guy I've done a little bit of work with in other videos where he gets the GPX file and he uses Google Map and it allows you to see what to expect and all the rest. It's it's a much more scenic route than the likes of, in my opinion, Ironman Florida. But again, if you want to have a look at it, that's a great way of seeing it. And also there is Joel Strickland has put up some videos where he's actually GoPro'd the entire course. So they're on the Ironman Jacksonville Facebook group. So check that out. That's another good option.
And the course will be on Ruby, Rouvy, Ruby. So if you
That,
want to ride the course indoors, it will be on Ruby.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the expectation. I did have. There's a bit of a debate whether they'll have it out in time. But again, yeah, Ruby is the Ironman used to have them up on full gas, but they've done away with that contract. If it is going to be up on Ruby, up on a trainer that you can use with that actually go through it, it will be Ruby. Hopefully, they will get it up in advance. To be determined. Righty ho. 8 stations. Now, as myself and Wendy alluded to, these are very, very important in your day. For me, I describe them as high risk and high reward. What do I mean by high risk? Two things. At the start of the aid station and at the end of the aid station, by the way, and these are not 1 foot long. These will be like 300 meters wide, and there'll be lots of tables. This is the only place you can throw rubbish, trash, any kind of old disc, gel wrappers, bottles, etc. You can chuck them in here, and that means that Ironman can pick them up afterwards. If you don't, you will be spotted by a marshal and you'll be disqualified, and it will be very embarrassing to explain to all your workmates on Monday morning what happened to your Ironman. I got disqualified for littering. Don't do that to yourself. So there is it's high risk because people can throw empty bottles and there's people are trying to take water bottles and take bananas, etc. from volunteers. So there's lots of moving parts. So it's a point where there's a lot where if you're not paying attention, you could become a part of an unwanted crash. So it's also high reward. You'll need the fuel from this course. You'll need the from the aid station. You'll need the bottles. You'll need the hydration, even to for electrolytes and keeping hydrated. And also back to Wendy's point about pouring water on yourself to keep your core temperature down. So please do kind of the key things to remember when you're coming into an aid station. A, know where they are. B, know when you're going to use them in your nutrition strategy. And there's a video in the comments below about how to build out your Ironman nutrition strategy. Um, be very communicative when you're coming in. Tell people you're going into an aid station. Be very aware of cyclists and volunteers where they are in the where they are in the overall flow. Talk to people. I'm coming in. Volunteer. Water, please. Water, please. Slow down. Grab the bottle. Secure it. Put it in your bottle cage. And move. And then communicate you're coming out. And the typical flow of an aid station with an Ironman is there's water in bottles that will fit into your bottle cage. Mortal hydration has been the drink of choice with North America, to be confirmed whether it is, but I'd be very surprised if it is. And typically on the bike, it is margarita mix. Food, that is going to be bananas, energy gels, etc., energy bars, and there's Morton gels, and then it repeats it as well in case you've actually missed one or two of the aid stations. So know where they are in the aid station, slow down, communicate, be smooth, and be clear on what you wanted. Anything you want to add to the how to use an aid station and what you would say to your athletes for their first Ironman?
Well, first, if you're questioning what to eat and drink in an Ironman because you've never raced before, there are a lot of people this day and age who do an Ironman as their very first event. I would test out the products that are offered on the course in your training and see how they feel on your energy levels and digestive system. And if they work, then be confident that they're going to work race day. If they don't work, then find something that does work. It could be real food and less of the energy product, gel, bar, hydration. It could be anything. So it's just something that you're going to have to carry on your own and and try to pack enough for yourself. There's going to be a special needs bag that you can pick up with your own stuff in it. But the key is to practice the the amount and what you are going to eat and the frequency that you're going to eat it in training before race day. Give yourself, again, in that 12 weeks out from race day, give yourself plenty of time to practice. Someone like me, like I know what works for me, so I don't train with it because I already know it works and I don't want to get sick of it. I always want to have a backup plan, A, B, and C in case something goes wrong. And you're going to, in the long run, save time by slowing down and making sure you get that nutrition in at the aid station rather than flying by and dropping a bottle and not going back to pick it up. Because then that's going to lead to possibly dehydration and cramping. So again, slow down, lose a few seconds to get the nutrition you need, because in the long run, it's going to save you time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's, as I said, it's better to be slow and controlled in this. There's time when you can put the foot down on that nice flat course, but not through an aid station. You want to go through it in a nice controlled fashion. Um, okay, and by the way, just in case you're nervous about aid stations, and I said, I hope we've got the point across. They're really useful and they will be vital to your course. But there is ways of handling them. There's a video in the comments below about how to handle them, and I've got lots of cool demos from pros. It sounds like I got them to do it for me. No, but I just took them from various videos where like even pros are losing the bottles they go. Like there's one pro knocked four bottles off in a row and I went, "Ooh, maybe he should have slowed down." But there's some do's and don'ts in there. Make sure you check it out. Okay. Now we've done the 180K and the bike 112 miles for you Americans. We're feeling top of the world and a little bit nervous about a marathon. So you're coming back into T2, where T2 is our transition from our bike to run. And we will be looking for our red bag, which again will be on the rack or it'll be on the floor. But that's once you rack your bike, by the way, and you come in. Only when you rack your bike, then you can take your helmet off. Then you run, grab your red bag, and then you put your helmet in the bag, and then you take out your runners and you take out your shades or whatever you're going to do. But there will be items that you will have laid out the day before. So that is part of your transition to the bags. The red bag is when you transition from your bike to run. What's your top tips for transition two for your athletes, Wendy?
Well, you already mentioned make sure you don't unfasten your helmet until you rack your bike to where you unracked it. So again, it's important to know your ins and outs. Sometimes people put no, a landmark or a balloon or something that they know by a landmark where they're going to run to, but it's the same places where you got it from. Sometimes they have volunteers to be bike catchers. So again, it just depends on the number of volunteers that a race organizer is going to be able to attain for the race. But after you're going to grab your bag, you're going to run into the changing tent. Everyone runs into the changing tent, whether you change or not, but it's a place to sit down, put your stuff on, reapply sunscreen is a must, and thank a volunteer and, just get ready for that marathon.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, as I said, one of my top tips is your T2 will be faster than your T1. Not only because you're not going from being horizontal to vertical, that you won't have a wetsuit to go. But the minute you have your runners on and your socks on, if you're going to wear them, you can start moving towards the run exit. So my guys, we agree that you put the gel, the sunglasses in the run visor, and the minute they have the runners on, they start moving. Even if it's walking, if it's jogging, you're just moving towards it because you're
Yeah.
not allowing your body to, your muscles to kind of cramp up, etc. So what we talk about is, was it just nothing good happens in transition two. The sooner you get in and out, you're running towards the next aid station where there'll be nice Coke for you. There'll be nice, was it cold water, hopefully ice, etc. Everything, the minute you start moving, and then you've already taken down a couple of steps off that marathon, and you're closer to the finish line. So in and out, and nothing good happens in T2. Righty-ho, how about we're on to the run course, which is 3 laps. And what's your take on this course, Wendy? What do you think from it? Would this be a course you'd be looking forward to run?
So 3 flat loops. I am someone who likes looped courses because I can think of it as I have to run 3 loops. I'm not thinking that I have to run 26.2 miles. I just have to run. I run a loop, I got 2 more. I run a second loop, I got 1 more. So Ironman Cozumel is a 3 loop course that I've participated in. It's flat. So again, in training, you want to make sure you're doing some flat running, long runs on flat terrain in that 12-week out build phase of Ironman preparation. And thank a volunteer, hydrate. There's going to be, again, plenty of aid stations on the course to keep you cool. Keep, ice down your chest, ice down your hat, whatever you're wearing. Just keep those extremities cool because it's Florida. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, no,
And it's
absolutely.
spectator friendly. So another reason loop courses I like are spectator friendly. You do the first loop and you know what to expect. And then you get to see your friends and family again. And
Yeah.
so I don't know, I just think there's something psychological about doing 3 loops versus doing one 26.2 mile course.
No, absolutely. And as you can see, there's going to be spectator hotspots. Like your friends can see you when you come in to transition from the bike here. And this is nearby the actual finish line. So I think if people are standing here, that's going to be just bedlam. That's going to be a lot of people.
Mhm.
And it looks like a close in the downtown as well. So there'll be cafes and bars and stuff like that. That'll be a great spot there for your friends to see because they will see you. Probably was it almost like 8 to 10 times in terms of passing out and back, etc. That would be great. Um, and
If I
yeah,
was a spectator, because if I was an athlete spectator, which I am, I would walk the course backwards. So I would, see my athlete in transition, and then I'd start walking towards mile 8, so I could see them as they're coming around. So your spectators can get a lot of exercise in at this race. They can get a lot of steps in because there's so many different directions they can go on the course to see their athletes.
you can have a competition. You go like, okay, as in like whoever, if you have 20% of my steps that I've covered, then I'm buying dinner and all the rest.
I
Like,
love that. I love that. Something I would do now. That what a great idea.
that's fantastic. Yeah, no, it does look. I'm a big fan of loop course as well, and I know you're being almost like polite and humble, but I know as well, like the competitor in you, like if you're on a looped course, you're seeing who you're running down and all the rest, and you know where your competition is. So
Yeah.
I know you're not saying it, but I'm looking in the competitor in your eyes, going, that's exactly what Wendy's thinking.
Yes, exactly.
And it is brilliant as well. You have that. You'll sort of I find on loop courses you have little nemesis. You go like, I need to get past that guy, and if I slow down an aid station, he overtakes me, and then you can see it at the turnaround. Okay, he's put 20 seconds into me. I got to catch up and all the rest. And you'll have fun on the course, as you said. That you'll see regular people and all the rest. This looks to me like an absolute belter of a course. I'm really excited about it. And although I am not racing North America this year, I will be really interested to see how this course goes. And again, as I said, I'd love to hear some good news on it. And you know me, Wendy, I love a downstream swim. I'd be very keen to come back and check it out. Um, okay, so one other thing in terms of the aid stations as well, they're not marked out in the course, but typically with Ironman run aid stations, they're typically every mile, so therefore there will be plenty. The main difference between an Ironman run aid station and a bike aid station, they hand out the drinks in cups. There's also the wonderful elixir of Coke that I always recommend to my athletes that you take that when your legs are falling off, which typically will probably be on the beginning of the third loop. And again, you get a nice sugary rush if you used to it, and all the rest, and gives you the boost to get home. Um, but also do remember again the rules of the aid station still apply. You can only throw trash in this area between here and here. Otherwise, you will end up with a really, really silly DQ. And let's remember, we are guests in Florida. We'd like to come along and just leave it exactly as we found it. So we'll be invited back next year. Anything else you think on the run course that people should know?
No, I mean, don't pass up an aid station, meaning even if you're not going to consume any fuel, make sure you grab water or ice to just to keep your body cool and throw it on your body.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you've also made a really valuable point about practicing running the flats. Also, practice running loops as well. So you're actually prepared for that at the end. It is can be mentally tiring seeing the same place, but if you're doing that in your long training runs, you'll the fact that you'll have thousands of people out supporting you will make this run an absolute great day out.
Yes.
Okie doke. We will move on, and again, we're based on the typical type of course on Ironman. Only change the kind of cutoff times based on if the course is going to proceed to be much faster or slower. They typically don't change anything at the start. So your swim, your bike, your run, and your transition time, you've got 17 hours to be confirmed to get it all done. But that's what our working assumption is. Now, clearly, we don't have the Ironman Jacksonville finish line because it hasn't happened yet. And if you're watching this in 2026 or 2027, we'll add that in. But this is what you can expect on an Ironman finish line. Hundreds of people in this beautiful red carpet coming along and cheering your name and your family and your support squad. This is what it's about. This is what you need to visualize when you're midway through the run, at the start of the run, a little bit nervous. You're coming to this epic moment of noise and energy and feeling was a positive vibe thrown at you, willing you towards that finish line. So do think about that. Okay, we normally go through kind of the at this point in my race reviews was it what the schedule is about when registration opens, etc. And when if there's a practice swim, etc. All those details are to be confirmed, but typically they based on previous Ironman, you probably can be again the dates and times to be confirmed. Do check the website that you'll be able to register on the what you call it, the Thursday. You'll need to check your bike in the day before. I don't think they're gonna have a practice swim in this course, not the where it is because it's point to point. So we'll need to discuss where people can train at and the actual start of when transition opens, etc., and when the actual rolling start will start again to be confirmed. But we'll
It's
post that up.
generally, again, it's generally transition gender is going to open up at 4:30 and they're going to start shuttling you to the start of the race. Generally, again, it's in May, so the time is it's bright out at 7 a.m. It's probably going to start at 7 a.m. Only races that start in the fall where it gets dark early and it stays dark in the morning, that races may adjust their start time schedule. It may start as early as 6:30 a.m. But like Steve said, just keep checking the website until they have that event schedule up.
Yeah. And when he's coming in, a really valuable point. As you saw, a start is a good bit away from the actual the swim start is a good bit away from the swim exit. So there will be some sort of Ironman when these events puts on shuttles, and there'll be a timetable irregular. So you'll be able to do your last minute checks in the bike when you're in transition, make sure everything's set up, and then you'll be shuttled up to wherever the actual swim start is, and make sure you just give plenty of time for that and logistics, etc. We might do a little video closer to the day once we know that. Wendy can talk through any hints and tips on that. Okay. Well, right, we will wrap it up there. But before we go, I did promise to give you Coach Wendy's email address. As I said, an absolute stellar person and an even better coach, if that's possible. She's absolutely. I've seen some of her results of her athletes up on Instagram and the rest. She gets the absolute best out of all levels of athlete. She's fantastic with her swim analysis. She's fantastic with her hands-on approach. If you're looking for a coach, I 100% recommend you check out Coach Wendy. There's her email address. It'll also be in the comments below. And then all I have to do now is, again, one of my favorite parts. Wendy, thank you so much for this. I really enjoy having these conversations. I'm excited to see how Jacksonville will work out. Do you have any last minute advice for our viewers?
Um, Race it like you trained it, meaning prepare for it in training. However you prepare is how what you can expect race day. Make sure you stay cool, make sure you learn to swim and are swimming proficient, even though it's a downstream swim. I can't stress enough non how many triathletes are weaker swimmers. And so I just don't think there's any excuse for that with all the resources out this day and age and coaches and online coaches and on deck coaches that can help you with your swim. I'm definitely the expert. My coaching business started because I started teaching adults how to swim because I wanted to do a triathlon. And make sure you always finish arms up and with a smile across that finish line because those finisher pictures are priceless.
Absolutely. I still get in trouble when I meet wives and girlfriends that the finisher picture has been now replacing wedding photograph.
Oh, nice.
So no, 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 no. I don't condone that. Okay, listen. Again, thanks, Wendy. We'll no, looking forward to the next video we'll do later on. But again,
Thank you.
thank you for your time.
Thanks. Have a good day.